and they have to mine data from global databases like WHO, PAHO, and CDC. And so we have generated the knowledge
Hi
comprehension,
everybody.
application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Now, just to point out to you that the type of multiple choice that is given is not one where I ask a simple
No, we're
question,
not how
such as what is
people.
accuracy, but rather they will get a question like this where they have to calculate or reason the acceptance of that requires the test going in a certain direction. They have to select the correct answer. Then they might have to calculate. So if you look at number 5, that's a complex step, and they have to work it out. And so that is it. So it's multiple choice that speaks to the higher end of the forms of test, and so they have to apply. So that is an example. That is my course outline that I'm sharing with you and how it goes in overarchingly and within these speak to the expected learning outcomes and objectives and the rubrics used for assessment. Thank you, and I hope my presentation served you well.
Thank you for your presentation, Dr. Sturridge. Are there any questions that anyone would like to ask before I make my comment? Questions or comments?
come in
Sorry,
as
good.
a
Okay.
question.
Okay, Miss Young, and then the voice of the male I heard in the background. Go ahead, please, Miss Young.
I just commendations. I think both presentations were very thorough and clear, and I just appreciated that. So that's all I wanted to say. So well done. Um, yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Miss Young. Over to you, Mr. McBean. I think it may have been you.
All right. It wasn't Steve. It was John. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Williams, go right ahead.
All right. So similarly, I appreciated what Dr. Sturridge shared in terms of her course outline. Um, Something that I would want to aim for is more of my assessments, in from the start. So I like that. I was wondering though, for the table of specification, is that something that is currently a part of your course outline, or you just keep that as a separate document?
All right. Dr. Robinson Storage,
Yes, it
you're
is a
very
part.
smart. I have a few things to say afterwards. Go ahead.
Yes, it is a part of the course outline. It actually, the table of specification is a weighted guide to the,
I mean, you
especially
can,
for
but
the
I won't be able
final
to
exit for the
understand.
student. So the student knows, okay, I will be expected to demonstrate mainstream knowledge application. They know the weighting that is coming from each unit, but it is also an indication of the instructional weighting as well. So for this particular course, I noticed there was a lot of weighting on application, the ability to apply, to compute effectively. So it serves both for both instructor and student, and it is a required part of the current structure of our course outline.
All right. Thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes, please. Not question, but comment. This is Blessing here. I will want to. All right. Thank you, Miss. I will want to really appreciate what Dr. Storage has said. In fact, I was following her step by step to the point that I was wondering what she is doing in this group. She should even be a lecturer somewhere or so. I really appreciate her. Kudos to her.
Thank you very much. Just to note that Dr. Robinson Sturridge works at Northern Caribbean University. She's a professor and associate dean in the
No
College
wonder.
of
No
Natural
wonder.
Sciences, Allied Health, and Nursing.
No
All right?
wonder. Yeah,
So
man.
please note that.
I have noted it.
Yes. Thank you very much, ma'am. Okay. Any other comments before I move on?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Doc.
Mr. Willoughby, go right.
Yeah, just want to appreciate how she skillfully navigated through her course outline. And as she was, going through, I could say, yes. I was saying to myself, brother, this is somebody actually is very much versed in this particular area. So, even though I'm a student from NCU, I've not met her, but watching her, explain it step by step, I developed a deep appreciation for what she just did. And I learned, I grab a lot from it. So, thank you. Another thing, Doc,
Go ahead.
there's a report regarding two of my group members, Shanice. Not Shanice, Onisia. She's currently at the doctor's office. She said she sent you a message.
Yes, I've received it and I've responded to her.
Right, and Joanne as well, she's currently at the hospital, so just give me an update for that.
All right, thank you for the update.
Thank you.
Now, I just want to indicate here that did you see anything unusual or similar to anything you know about regarding the course outline, the one that Dr. Robinson Storage presented? Anyone?
It's similar to yours.
Thank you very much. Now, But it should not only be similar to mine, it should be similar to every other course outline that you see from all the classes that you have been doing since you joined this program. And if you're a student at NCU in Reading undergraduate program, all the course outline should be somewhat like this. Now, this is the standard course outline. But I wanted to indicate also that many of you may be wondering about that which has been presented next week. That I asked you to present at the level at which you work for a good reason. Because although the documents that you have may all look different, although the approaches, the lesson planning or the writing of course outlines or even plans may all be slightly different, levels of engagement system, please know that goals will always be written exactly the same way, regardless of what the level of the course is. Learning outcomes is knowledge. Or specific objectives, the generic sense for any job, not necessarily only in academics. These are all to be written exactly the same. And I want you to get that. Because although you're being taught these things to improve your skills and competence in the field of education and within the classroom itself, the information you're being provided with in this class is information that will be used for life. Are you with me? So I'd like you to get that. Number 2. Once we got the very course outlines, I have to have been in another different position when these were sent out. And in my former capacity, I personally worked on ensuring that the course outline for the department in which I worked was developed for the department. Are you with me? So, every course outline you see coming from the DJ should look exactly the same way, except for the course content, the course objectives, those kind of things. There are some things which are in all of them, some of the guidelines, even the tables and so on. The only thing that changes within the tables will be the information. Are you with me? You have your learning outcomes, your course objectives, you have various other elements such as the core values that we relate to this institution, the integration of pace and learning elements that are there, and of course within each college or each department, here at NCU you would see those which are best suited for the subject areas that are being presented.
Hello. Hi.
I wish the base outline is the same. Even as we move on to how you do assignments, how you require people to do their reference lists, things of that nature, each department or college usually uses the style book for that discipline. So, while I asked for the APA to be the standard, if it were that Dr. Sturridge was teaching a course from her college, she would very likely not ask me to use the APA, because there is a standard that the scientists use which is different from that which social scientists use. And the standard that is used by the theologians, although they are sort of looking over to APA as well, but traditionally they have used Terabia. S.K. Terabia is the name of the individual who has prepared the style for that which is primarily used in the SRT, the School of Religion and Theology. And those who do things like English, we have what we call the NLA. I hope you're writing them down to go and check them out. So it depends on the discipline in which you are, and you will make determination or whatever writing style that you're going to be using. your course assessment. And the university standards are also there regarding and I want to say, so I want you to understand
Coming.
what we're looking at in this part is not just the elements of examination, type of examination that you exhaust for the time. Yes, for the type of tests. Yes? Would anyone like to comment on that, please, before we move to our next presenter?
Sorry, not a comment,
Yes, go ahead,
but I
please.
wanted to ask something. Miss, I'm in a different time zone and I'm trying to help Blessing from Group 10 to present her lesson plan. Is it possible if everybody agrees I can go next because I need to head to work?
All right, Group 8 had asked Group 8. Will you allow Oshin to present since she is far away
Hi.
and she is round about morning right now?
No, Miss, I'm helping Blessing to present her. She has no internet, so I'm screen sharing
No,
to her.
I hear that also.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that where you are is about 12 hours away. So you're in the morning right now the next day.
Yes.
As if you are tomorrow.
Yes, Miss, I'm heading to work now, but I wanted
Right,
to
so
help.
you are tomorrow
Yes.
where we are. So you are around about 6:23 in the morning while we are 6:23 night.
No, Miss, 7:23.
Same
We're
thing
13
now?
hours ahead.
Okay, great. I even thought it was 12. Is it 12 at any point in time?
No, Miss, 13.
Okay, go right ahead. So Group 8?
Yes, that's okay.
Okay, so go right ahead, please, Oshin.
Okay, Blessing, I'll start screen sharing so you can.
All right. Thank you very much, Oshin. Thank you, Dr. Perry. I am now going to present lesson plan for Group 10. The name of the institution has to be written, followed by the name of the teacher. And in this particular case, I am the teacher, so my name is there, Blessing Weir. After that, the subject.
Miss, I've sent a request for the permission to share.
I've already sent that to you. One moment, please, Blessing. Are you seeing it?
Okay, miss. Okay.
Oshin, are you seeing it?
When I click on share, it says the host isn't allowing sharing for this meeting.
Oh, no, I sent you, I allowed you even before you asked. Let me go again.
Let's see if I can. Yeah, it has been a tiring video as well.
Are you able to do that now?
Yes.
All right, good. I think that may be because you're logged in twice and I gave you permission on one
Yes.
username.
Sorry about that.
All right, so you may proceed now.
Yes, thank you very much, miss. So here, the name of the institution is Day at Manning School. The name of the teacher, and then, Oshin, are you with me? Hello?
Blessing, you can go ahead. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes,
I'm seeing your screen, Ms. Lawrence.
Blessing, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I want to start again. In this lesson plan, the name of the institution is written. Some people will write school. Then followed by the name of the teacher, In this particular case, my name is there because I am the teacher here now. And the subject is geography topic. The topic is compass direction, followed by class. The class is grade level 10, and the date is 10. Duration is 60 minutes.
Me?
Then the goal. What is the goal? At the end of the lesson, or by the end of the lesson, students will understand the uses of compass in the school or at any point in time. Learning objectives. By the end of the lesson, students should be able to 1. Define compass directions. 2. Identify the cardinal, intercardinal, and secondary intercardinal directions. Then number 3, use compass directions to describe locations on a map accurately. And they will also be able to demonstrate map reading skills using compass direction. After that, teaching strategy. In this particular case, we are using 5E's model, which is to engage the students, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. After that, we go over to the resources used: compass rose chart, maps, globe, worksheet, ruler, projector, markers, sticky notes. Then we go over to key vocabulary, in which the students will have to find the meanings to this, from compass to cardinal directions, intercardinal directions, bearings, north, south, east, and
How are you in
west.
person?
Then teacher activities. The teacher will have to display a map of Jamaica, for example, and ask the students if they travel from Kingston to Montego Bay, which direction will they take? And how do they pilot and sailors, how do pilots and sailors know where they are going? And they will also have to show a
They
compass
just
or
put in one
compass
Q&A,
image.
like question and answer.
Then
You
allow
ask them one
students to
question and
share
they answer.
prior knowledge about directions. Then, in the case of student activities, they will have to respond to questions the teacher will ask them, share experiences using directions, observe the compass and map. Expected outcome: students become interested in the topic and activate prior knowledge about directions and navigation. Explore: this is going to use like 7 minutes. Teacher activities will divide the class or the students
Boys and like the time video. Like the time video. Put your hand there, pillow, 1 second. No, so we can record something. Hi, I'm Miss Campbell and welcome to A Day in My Life. This morning's edition, or this edition is Hi, my lovelies, and welcome to A Day in My Life. This edition is Uniform Day, where we dress in our old school uniform of the high school we used to attend. And you know, for me, I am Edinalyn straight to my color blue 100%, but I'm not at Edinalyn teaching currently. So I just want you guys to see how the day went, everything. It was a very fun and entertaining day, very a lot of laughs. So let's get into it. Let me record it over. Hi, my lovelies, and welcome to another vlog. For this one, we are attending Uniform Day. Now, at work, we were told to dress in our old high school uniform, and you know, for me, I'm a Edwin Allen height through and through, so I'm going to wear and rep my color blue straight. So let's get into the vlog. It was a fun and chill day, lots of laughs and a lot of pictures. So let's let's do a little recap. Lovelies, and welcome to another vlog. For this one, we are attending Uniform Day. Now at work, we were told to dress in our old high school uniform, and you know, for me, I'm a Edwin Allen height through and through, so I'm going to wear and rep my color blue straight. So let's get into the vlog. It was a fun and chill day, lots of laughs and a lot of pictures. So let's let's do a little recap. Alright, so you know the drill. The first order of business is to oil pull so we can remove all the impurities and everything from our mouth. So before we even drink any water, let us oil pull first. And then we're going to do a quick little 20 minutes workout, if you'd call it that. But yeah. And we're going to do a quick little little 20 minutes workout, if you'd call it that. Any water, let us oil pull first, and then we're going to do a quick little 20 minutes workout. 20 minutes work. 20 minutes workout, if you'd call it that. But yeah. If you'd call it that. But yeah. If you'd call it that. But yeah. But yeah. Could call it that. But yeah. Eh? We can't take out dinner. Keep it, call it that. But yeah.
Miss Lawrence, you may clear the screen now. So,
Thank you very much, Miss.
you're very welcome. And the next
I said, your local, I see what you wrote. Don't tell
could you
Jiva.
please?
I was in the, I said to register you. Does that risk coming?
Doc, while you're on this share, I'm just confirming that they're going. I'm just confirming that they're going because they asked, right? And you didn't forget that group 7 hasn't
I
presented
said
it.
to register you.
No, and group 8 is the next one. They asked.
Okay, all right.
I'm not leaving, I'm not forgetting group 7. Oh,
Okay.
sure that.
All right.
So group 8?
Yes, it's good
Correct.
evening. Good evening,
What's your name
everyone.
again,
Are you guys
Sophie
hearing
Diva?
me?
I'm hearing you, Miss Norman.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay, so I'm Simone Morgan. So I'm going to be presenting my course outline on behalf of Group 8. And just to give a little overview of the items that will be appearing on this course outline. So I'm just showing you a brief course outline checklist. So these are the items that are expected to appear on the course outline based on the course that will be taught. All right, so the general course information is the first item, and then the course description, followed by the learning outcomes, then the course schedule, the assessment methods, certain policies and expectations of the institution as well as the course, and any type of resource support resources that are needed and support that will be provided. All right. And any additional elements, for example, if you're teaching a lab, if you're an instructor for a lab,
I said your local, I see what you wrote. Don't tell Jiva.
Guidelines.
I was in the, I said to register you. Does that risk
And
coming?
some of the materials, additional materials that you may need in order to complete the labs for the course. Okay, so you should be seeing a lot of these.
I was in the, I said to register you. Does that risk coming?
So yes, this should look familiar based on what was presented before. Alright, so this is on the cover page, the different items that are expected to appear on the cover page. So the name of the university as well as the college, and the certain information like the course, the name of the course, the section of the course, the instructor that will be myself, whatever contact information, right, where students can reach out to the instructor. You may have or may state the class times here as well.
You've done
as well as the office hours where the instructor will be available.
One thing I love with the
And
coconut
I went
oil is
ahead
how
and
it
put
just, naturally
in case
softens
students
with
want
it.
to, in
So
case
let me just
students
floss.
contact me that they have an idea
You know the
of when
jar
they
where
should
I brush my
receive
teeth.
some feedback.
Tongue scraper,
Alright, the
dental
modality
hygienic
of the course,
stuff.
so in this case, this
But
is
yeah,
an
today's gonna
online
be,
course.
today
Right,
is
so
my
this is fundamentals of nutrition. So it's a nutrition course.
alright.
Right,
So
and if at the time of when this course outline was posted, the exam period, the final exam period was unknown at the time. So TBA just means to be announced, right? So that would be something that will be announced later on as that information becomes available. And then you have listed here the prerequisites for the course. So that would mean if there's a course that the student needs to take before
so we've all we've
completing
done
this
some
course,
stretches,
we
some
would have to do
something just to get blood flowing.
just to
Now,
ensure that all
one thing I love with
students
the
have
coconut
cleared
oil
the
is
first
how it
course
just,
ahead of time.
naturally
Right, so that
softens
can
with it.
serve as a reminder.
So let me just
So
floss.
with the course description, I'm moving on to the
You
course
know the
description.
jar
So
where I brush my
this just
teeth.
give a summary of the
Dental
areas, different
hygienic
areas that are
stuff.
going to be discussed in this
But yeah,
nutrition
today's
class.
gonna be,
So
today's
it's
my
going
pack
to be
day
going through
in
basic
terms of classes and
dietary
stuff. But
terms and
so today's my
principles,
pack day in terms
how
of
nutrients are
classes and
utilized. So
stuff. But it
nutrients
is
are
uniform day, which means that we're dressing up
digested
in
and
the uniform of the
utilized
school
and
or high school we
absorbed
attended.
and excreted.
So
Right?
it should
We'll
be
be
a
making
cute day. So I'm
the
just vlogging,
connection
taking
between
like a snippets here
the
and there.
nutrients that God, the nutrients
Well,
that we
once I
will
gone
be
from the prayer,
discussing in
so
class,
if I'm going on the job
and importance of treating our bodies as a temple,
and there.
as God's temple
Well,
when we're making our dietary
once
choices.
I gone from the prayer,
Alright, so moving
so if
on
I'm going on the
to
job
the course learning
to
objectives,
get
which
some
is actually
water,
the goals.
get some
And there are quite a few
store.
goals that are listed here. So the one I'll be focusing on is goal number 2 here. That says explain mechanical processes of digestion, absorption, transportation, and utilization of nutrients in the body. Alright, but this is where the goals of the course will appear.
One moment,
Right.
please.
Turmeric
What about the
skin,
course
the drink,
learning
and the
objectives
dirty
and
dirty.
goals at the same time?
Just saying.
Okay, so I can do that. So alright, so just
No, I'm asking because you spoke about the course learning objectives while you spoke about the goals. Remember, the goals are the overarching principles. The learning objectives are the specific objectives. All right?
okay, so
So the class learning outcomes
outcomes.
are not the same as the goals. All right?
Okay.
The goals would be equivalent to the general objectives in a different dispensation, but it is general. It would represent the goals, and the core objectives would be equivalent to the class objectives, which lead to the class learning outcomes. All right, so please remember that now. You usually speak about the goals as separate from objectives, the specific objectives, all right? Or the learning outcomes. Those things which lead to the specifics, which I say are to be smart. Yes, those are the learning outcomes or the objectives or the class.
All right, so I feel like I can,
etc. Remember, one is general, the other is smart, which tells you exactly how you are going to be achieving.
all right, so I feel like I can talk properly now. If you guys didn't catch what I said a few moments ago.
Alright, so the goal that I'll be focusing on is number 2.
So today is
Alright, so keep
uniform
that
day,
in mind.
which means that
Do you just
teachers,
want me
and plus today is Teachers Day as
go
well.
through or
Happy
skip
Teachers
to
Day
the SMART objectives?
as well.
No, please determine how you do your presentation.
Okay. Alright, so the next item will be the giving an idea of how the grading will be
Happy Teachers Day to all.
tabulated for the course. Right? So these are the different types of assessments, all right, or the different types of assessments that will be completed in the course. So the group participation will be worth 15% of the entire grade. I'm sorry, the group presentation will be worth 15% of the entire grade. Participation, class participation, assignments, and quizzes combined will be worth 15% also. The sectionals are worth 30% of the entire grade, and then the final exam is 40% of the grade. So if you total all of these, you should end up with 100%. The work in cute. Okay. But it is so there's items, for example, a brief description as to the modality of the quizzes, the sectional, as well as the final exams. Today's uniform summary of that. Which means and then next year we'll be talking about some persons attended integration high school, so faith and learning within the course. Alright? So there are various SMART objectives that are associated with that. As well. Some persons attended 2 to 3 high schools, so they choose the one that they want to wear. But for me, I went to Alright, so different general information like the values of the university,
so let me show you
the certain policies, the code of honor.
Don't mind remove the bra.
We discuss academic honesty and integrity at this time.
So,
right? And then moving on to the course content, which is
don't
where,
remove the
where
bra
it's
and the
listed
tie and the undershirt. But
specific
here it is. Here.
learning objectives or the SMART objectives. Alright? So there are lots of units within the course
here
outline.
it is. Here she is. I have 2 ties.
It's giving a
and
breakdown
then the skirt
of
that I collected yesterday, the blouse that I bought yesterday.
for the entire semester.
So,
alright, so I'm just going to be focusing on one of the units. But the different units have
excited to wear
the breakdown of different nutrition related topics.
And then I did some good
so in unit
extra stuff to my hair.
The
also
topic
got
that we'll be
this
focusing on in unit 2 is
blue and
transforming
white
foods and
with the
fluids
finger on the hand with my watch.
for use in the body.
Together, I got a
Alright.
black sock
And then
and
what
I'm
is highlighted
contemplating
here
which
is
shoes to
the
wear.
scriptural
Yeah.
reference. So
This is it.
the goal is
As I was a
that at the start
prefect,
of each
little
unit,
girl and then some
I will be
the skirt
highlighting
feel more
a
like me instead
particular
of
scripture and make a connection with that scripture and
But yeah,
the new
let me show you
topic
guys
that we'll
what
be
I did.
focusing on.
The ones that I could
Right,
find.
so the scriptural
So, yeah.
reference here is from
Okay,
St.
so
John 6, verse
you guys go
51,
see.
where it talks
Let me see
about,
if we can.
where actually, it's about
Alright.
Jesus, where
Remind
he's
the-
saying, I am the living bread, which came down from heaven. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world.
Kind of
Right, so it's making that connection where the bread of life, which is Jesus, came down from heaven. So it's giving the path, it's describing the path that Jesus took to bring the living word, which is himself, into our lives. Right, so
Okay.
the connection that will be made would be in terms of when someone ingests certain food. Alright, there's a pathway that it takes throughout our digestive tract and our digestive system as a whole in order for it to bring benefit to our bodies as a whole.
I found my peer code
Right.
for President
So,
badge.
the
Badge.
SMART
I
objectives.
found my
Alright, so the SMART objectives that are included here. So the first one is saying describe the segments of the digestive tract in order from the mouth to the colon. And then explain the mechanical processes of digestion in order of occurrence in the digestive tract. Third one is list the 5 organs and their secretions, which assist in the breakdown of food.
here educator.
discuss
But
the
we're gonna
secretions that break
put
down
on all of them.
carbohydrates, fats,
But let's get ready.
and proteins
Let's
by
eat,
identifying and
bathe,
explaining at
everything so we
least
can
three
leave on
secretions
time
that are
and all of
involved in the
that.
breakdown of these macronutrients, their
Get
source
ready.
organs,
Let's
and
eat,
stating their end
bathe,
products.
everything so we can leave on time.
Then differentiate the secretions involved in the breakdown of three macronutrients by correctly matching
Alright,
each
so we had a
secretion
rosemary tea now this.
nutrient and source or explain the role of the circulatory system and lymphatic
Alright, so
system
we had
in
a rosemary
the
tea now this.
transport of nutrients,
Some ginger tea.
identify the hormones
Ginger and
involved
mint
in
tea. So we're gonna drink some of this
digestive and
first.
absorptive
And then
processes,
something light. So we're going to
apply
have
the
a cup noodle
concepts of
this morning.
apply the concepts
It's
presented
currently
in the chapter.
6:25. After we're done eating our something, we're gonna feed the chicken, bathe and get ready. Because my taxis them ready like 7:10. So we need to do them ready. One of them say by 7 o'clock. Sir!
Okay.
Sir!
In terms of the different activities, including the
It's still
assessments
hot.
that are going to be used in this.
Okay, so I'm about to have my cup noodle now. I already had or did my devotional. First thing I woke up, I did it before I went on pool. I just went at it. So I'm in this group with some persons that I met on Instagram, some ladies from all over the world, basically. And just accountability partners. So I will share on screen the verses that we read through for this morning and the practice that we're going to do. So Psalm 23 in the morning, Psalm 91 at night, every day. So yeah, the devotion has already been done. Let's eat this ground fast, feed the chickens, bathe, and let's get to the fun part, get ready. And that's what the part makes excited for, just to get ready.
To ensure that I stay on track in terms of the information that is covered in the unit. In terms of, okay, all right, and then finally you have the suggested reading. So one of the things that is done is that that is stated on the course outline is the text that is going to be used. So with each of the unit, you have suggested readings so that students can go ahead and read ahead or read even after we cover the material so that they can get a better understanding.
Eat this ground fast, feed the chickens, bathe, and let's get to the fun part, get ready. So that's what the part makes excited for, just to get ready.
Alright, so there's also a weekly schedule of just to summarize the different activities week by week that will be covered in the course, as well as whatever assignments and the corresponding deadlines that are associated with each of the units. The last thing I want to share is actually to match or to give you an idea of how
feed chicken time.
Yeah. Or sectional, how I match the different questions with certain learning
chicken time.
that I have.
Can't lift them out.
So this is also.
Oh, it's probably be a little late. But we can't leave out the chicken them. Want to give me egg? Mommy? I'm going to guys know.
I gave her to you see all I'm on.
I love these these bits about them. It's good in a saltfish and ackee on this one. Ackee and saltfish.
But guys, I asked you like, how was your Monday? And nobody not answer me. You understand? So we don't like Monday, but you could answer. You could answer.
To the beings, right? And then with respect to the second learning objective, that talks about the different mechanical processes that are involved in digestion. That's where we talk about things like peristalsis, mastication, absorption, Alright, so which mechanical
No, it's
process
I'm not feeling no one
occurs
too. I'm
first
not sure so
in
mackerel.
digestion?
I read mackerel on top of the rice in me.
She likes protein.
So that's matching the
So
second
wait, rice I'm mackerel
objective,
protein.
and then the
She
third
likes
objective
Just pure protein.
that
So don't
has
come
to
out
do
yet
with
within
the certain
You don't want carbs, honey?
organs in the digestive
You
tract
must be.
and the
You don't like carbs, honey?
fluids or the substances that they release. Alright? So a question could be question right here. Which organ produces bile? Alright? So one of the things that we cover is that the liver is the organ that produces bile and then it is stored in the gallbladder. But this question is just asking which organ produces bile. Right? So they will need to know that is the liver not the gallbladder. And then the last example that I have is a question that could match with learning objective 4. This question says, which enzyme breaks down carbohydrates? So the options here, will be able to choose one. So that's it for my presentation.
Thank you very kindly. Comments, please, especially on the specific objectives or objectives or
We're late.
learning
Let's quickly
outcomes.
get ready, please.
Comments, please.
7, 9, 709 should have been left out. But I was in a dilemma for which shoes I should wear. Don't fall anything down. So I'm going with
Just one question.
a different
All right,
option.
let's see.
Why is this still?
Yes, do you have to have a
Got some messages
question
as
for objective? I noticed that's what you were doing. And I know it is well outlined, but must there be a question for the objective?
No, but those are questions that if I'm doing a quiz, those I will construct the quiz so that it will match with the learning objectives.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes, please.
Okay, Simone and then Leslie.
Okay.
Miss Margaret?
Alright.
Hey, donkey, I'm running
Let's quickly get ready.
Where did you come from?
7, 9, 709 should have been left out.
Okay then, so
But
Mrs. Ware, you
I was in a dilemma for
All
which shoes I
right.
should wear.
I will want to find out from Simon, please. Can we please say
So
that
I'm going with
course after presentation
a different type of
is
shoes.
just
Why is
like
this still?
presentation of lesson plan?
We've got some messages, that's right.
No, for the lesson plan, the course outline, there's specific information that you need to that needs to be on the course outline, and that depends on the institution. So if we go more into more details in terms of like the course description or the policies of the institution. So those are additional information that needs to be included on the course outline. So it's not structured in a similar way to the lesson plan if you were doing it at the secondary or primary.
Okay, thank you.
all right, any other questions
Yes.
or comments?
Just a comment. I wanted to make. I was glad to see her link the learning objective to some form of assessment. The question was asked if each objective ought to be linked with a question, but I think that is important for evidence. Something I was observing from my last week's presentation, that summative assessment, and even there has to be some way during the lesson, whether we're going to do formatively or summatively, to assess if the specific objectives were met. And I think that's one of the critical parts of this assignment. So see how are learning objectives assessed rigorously. So
Thank you so much for that observation. I'm delighted. Now, if you recall, from at the very start, I don't know if you over here, one of the points that I made, and which I want to be stuck in your head, is that regardless of which level you're teaching, regardless of the kind of document you're required to produce by your supervisors or
Okay.
those
I turned
oversight,
bakal. Ito. Sipis ito yung naksi bakal. Ito.
regardless of what they
Sipis
require
naksi
of you, please
Sipis
know
ito
that
naksi bakal.
it is
Ang laki sa
recommended
inis
that your
ng loob.
examinations are set while you are preparing your course outlines or your lesson plans or whatever. Because, remember, you have the purpose of the class, and you usually have that.
Ang
Then you're moving along now
Ano ba
to
yung
your general objective or general objectives, which would be tantamount to or equivalent to your goal or goals. But then when you come to your learning outcomes or your specific objective or your objective, if you're not in the classroom, please know that every objective must be directly connected to the goal by whatever name you call it. And every goal that you are focused on needs to be tested. Yes? You may want to do that. I think that your first goal.
Yeah.
Are you with me? However, when you also conduct multiple courses, and so on, but when you come to summative evaluation, even if it is one examine, one test question, which you don't really recommend, but I'm just saying, this makes me understand. It is expected that whatever teaching they give as your final exam needs to be focused on the entire course. So if it is one essay, for argument's sake, it needs to be so structured that it encompasses the whole. Are you with me? Because you don't want to have people studying all kinds of things and then you go and get a little piece of this over here. Are you with me? So formative assessment is of critical importance there where you're doing this thing in an ongoing manner. And even if the approach to testing you're going to take at the end is not even a final exam, but some kind of project or whatever it is you will choose, remember that the core requirement for your textbook will need to be to ensure that that which you were teaching is what the students learn. Am I making sense here? So please bear this in mind. Very good question. Thank you for your presentation. All right. Who is coming next? Group 7? Is that you?
This one?
Yes, miss.
Okay, Miss Young.
Yes, it is.
It's a yellow. It's a blue.
Oh, I can't share as it.
No, I'm opening up to give you permission to share.
Oh, okay.
Okay, after Ms. Young makes her presentation, we'll do a brief break and then we'll come and take the other presentations. And after that, we move straight on to your other reading assignment. Go ahead.
Sure, I just. Are you seeing balance of plan? Are you seeing it?
Video? No vlog.
Can I share with all the other ones?
Yes, the lesson plan was being seen before this was available.
Okay, and could you hear me when I was asking if you could see it while it was showing?
Yes, certainly.
Okay, alright, great. Still hearing me, right? I just want to ensure because this computer is different.
Certainly.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Alright, so good evening, everyone. I'm Melissa Young, and this is our lesson plan from the group. So, the subject is health and family life education. This is for grade 9 students. The theme is managing the environment. The subtopic is effects of improper waste disposal. There should be a 1 to 2 class sessions plan. The general objective is by the end of the lesson, students will be able to explain at least 3 negative effects of improper waste disposal on the environment and human health, and also demonstrate 1 responsible waste management practice through a group presentation. Now, our specific objectives are, at the end of the lesson, students should be able to 1, identify at least 3 different methods of waste disposal during the first 20 minutes of class. The second one would be to describe at least 3 effects of improper waste disposal on the environment and human health during the class discussion. Suggest at least 2 effective waste management strategies for proper waste disposal during group activities. They should be able to create and present a poster containing at least 4 messages or slogans promoting proper waste disposal practices within the final 30 minutes of the class. The resources would be the curriculum guide, YouTube videos, posters and charts, also pictures showing waste disposal scenarios. We'll use the whiteboard, and we'll need markers for that. And with our lesson plan that we use, it actually shows the 5 E's and exactly what is done on each head or each section. So for engagement, the students will watch a short video or public service announcement related to waste disposal. Now, after watching the video, they will be asked certain questions or guided questions, discussion from the video, or just to ascertain what they learned or understood. So some of those guiding questions
My bad.
are, what problems did you observe in the video? How does improper waste disposal affect our surroundings? Students will then share their responses in a class discussion. The second E is exploration. So students will be placed into small groups and will be given pictures showing different waste disposal situations. So they'll be shown pictures of like someone littering in the streets, water pollution, overflowing garbage bins, burning your garbage, and so forth. And then in their groups, they will actually discuss what's happening in the pictures. Why is whatever happening a problem? Where else have they seen this happening, or can it happen in life? They will also be assigned specific topics such as littering in communities, waste in waterways, burning garbage, or lack of recycling practices. Right, so that they can present. And then for explanation, with HFLE, it's life skill based. So while there is a little bit of content, it's heavily life skill based. So the life skill and value that will be utilized during this lesson is decision making, communication, critical thinking, advocacy, and preparation. So what the teacher will do is that we will have a discussion on proper versus improper waste disposal, the impact it has on the environment, water contamination, the spread of diseases, how it harms animals and humans. We'll also discuss, the importance of recycling and responsible waste management. We'll define all of these terms. And then for evaluation, the students will work in the same group that they would have created from the beginning, and they will now create a poster with slogans promoting proper waste disposal, and then they'll have 10 minutes to present their poster and their presentation. Now, each group will then present the poster and explain the environmental message behind it as well. So they'll use the time to create their poster, the 10 minutes, and they'll come up, present their poster and explain, the message that they want to bring across. Now, each group will also clearly explain the meaning and purpose of this poster, and this is all happening within the same time span. When it all adds up, it should be the last 30 minutes of the class as the objective stated. Now, as I said before, it's heavily left and value-based, so we will also go through the steps of the life skill or value that we're exploring in the lesson. So we'll talk about the steps in advocacy. So what the teacher will do is, inform the students of the steps, and then we'll discuss the steps and see how we can incorporate them in real life situations. So the steps in the advocacy skill is to identify the issues. So they'll identify environmental issues, and then the second step is always to gather and understand information. So they will then gather and understand the information about the issue, and then develop a clear message to address the issue, communicate the message effectively, encourage others to adopt better practices, and then they'll reflect on the effectiveness of the image. Now, at the end, we always do an assessment. For this lesson, the assessment questions will be guided by an exit questions or exit ticket. That's usually what it's called. So they'll be asked to describe at least 3 methods of a proper waste disposal activity. The assessment questions, they're usually in different formats, but for my classes, it's usually just discussion based. We're just communicating, and so they'll share, and they'll also explain why proper waste management is present in communities, such as 3 ways individuals can help to reduce waste pollution, and for this
Hello. Any comments or questions, please?
Enjoying this beautiful 80-degree weather.
Any comments to Ms. Young or any questions?
I just looked down at the outside temperature.
All right. Let me do the last of these presentations, and then when we come back from the break, we just move now into the next presentation, or the next set of presentations.
Okay.
So, yeah, so we're going to go to group 9 now. Group 9 should present now, Miss, or after the break? No. Okay. I will going to be the one to share the song? Yes. All right, you may proceed.
Sarah, what school? While we can share the screen, I wanted to know though, are you going to give comments after the break? Because I was kind of hoping for feedback, so I know what to improve and what.
I made sure to ask first, you had all of the presentations last week to use as the base of your fixing of document. Remember I asked you to use the feedback that was given last week of the 5 presentation?
Yes, I know, but you know, okay.
Yeah, but I asked if there are any comments, and I don't know that this is something that I would hear anyone wishing.
Okay.
To make any statements. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, please, group 9.
Okay.
Alright, so good evening, class. I am presenting my lesson plan here. So normally we'd have the school name at the top, but I removed it and just added high school. So the subject is English language. It was second form students, and the topic that we're looking at is sentence structure and sentence errors. Now this topic will be done over the period of 2 sessions. So the subtopics that we're looking at would be sentence fragments, run-on sentences, comma spices, and complete sentences. So our general goal is to develop students' competence in using standard English accurately and effectively in their speech and writing. So our target would be for the students to identify different types of sentence errors and to construct grammatically correct and complete sentences. So the specific objectives on day 1 would be to define sentence fragments and run-on sentences with an 80% accuracy, to identify complete sentences, fragments, and run-ons in examples, and to correct sentence fragments and run-ons using appropriate sentence structure. And then for day 2, we move on to the students defining comma splice errors accurately, correct the comma splice using conjunctions, semicolons, and sentence separation, and to construct and edit grammatically correct sentences independently. So on our lesson plan, we normally, because for other teachers that may use it, we add prior knowledge so that they will understand what the student is already familiar with to better able to navigate with the lesson plan. So the prior knowledge for second formers, they would have already had basic sentence structure, so sentence and predicate, parts of speech, use of punctuation marks. So the materials that the teacher would need is the whiteboard, markers, sentence strips and cards, English textbook or notebooks, and projector that is optional. Some of the strategies that we use during teaching would be some question and answer to the students, the cooperative learning, guided discussions, and demonstration. And to manage their behavior, because sometimes students, they can be distracted, we use positive reinforcement, proximity control, calling the students by the name, monitoring, and clear classroom expectation. And to assess the students to make sure that they are understanding the topic, the assessment criteria is their ability to identify the sentence errors correctly, the accuracy in correcting the fragments, the run-ons, and the comma splices, how they participate in the class and the group activities, and also their completion of the written tasks. So, on the lesson plan, we have 2 columns. For day 1, so teacher task is on my left, and what students will do is on the right. And we also list this with time. Sometimes it may run over a little bit depending on how the student is grasping what is being conveyed. So first, engagement. So write on the board these 3 sentences here and get the students to participate. Ask them which one is a complete sentence and which ones are not. So on the other side, as you can see here, it says students will read the sentences and identify what sounds incorrect, share responses and their observations, and then discuss the ideas. Then distribute some sentence strips with examples and ask the students to sort the sentences into categories and guide them as they discuss their choices. Of course, on the right, this tells you what the students will do. They'll work in their groups, they'll start the sentences, and they'll explain why they categorize the sentences in a certain way. Then we'll move on to defining complete sentence. What is it? What is a fragment? What is run-on sentence? And they'll explain how each error affects writing clarity. So here is where we have the definition, examples. Students will then in turn take notes, ask the questions that they might not be clear on, participate in the discussion that we have, and identify the examples in class. And at the end of the class here, we'll conduct a quick thumbs up activity using sentences shown on the board, and teachers will randomly select the students and explain
to explain the answers, and the student will decide whether sentences are correct or incorrect, and then justify their answer. So the summary of day one would be a sentence, must express a complete thought, the fragments are incomplete thoughts, run-on sentences, they join ideas incorrectly, correct punctuation and conjunction improve sentence clarity. For day two, as mentioned earlier, we're going to do comma engagement activities, just as day one, and provide some examples on the board. Students will then work in groups and discuss and compare their answers and then explain their reasoning, and the teacher will guide the discussion on the punctuation. They'll also go ahead to define we'll talk about the definition of comma splice, demonstrate 3 ways to fix comma splices, and ask the students questions. So the 3 ways would be to use a conjunction, a semicolon, or to separate the sentences in 2. And the students, they'll take notes, they'll participate in the examples that will be listed. And then here we'll, this is another class activity where sentences will be displayed on the board, and we'll ask students to correct them independently in their notebooks, and then ask stronger students to explain why the corrections are, why they work,
so I know that she's
provide,
a teacher,
and the teacher will then provide support where necessary. So they'll just justify their corrections of the sentences that were placed on the board and just participate actively. And the final thing is to distribute 4 to 6 sentences containing comma splices. The students will work independently first, and then they'll check their answers in pairs. So the person that's sitting beside them, you'll just discuss with your partner the comma splice error, and then the teacher will then circulate throughout the class, see what each student has done and provide immediate feedback or make corrections where necessary. And we also have a summary of the content for day 2 as well. Comma splice joins incomplete sentence incorrectly. The sentence errors make writing confusing. Correct punctuation and conjunctions improve writing quality, and complete sentences clearly express ideas. And then here we have some activities that teachers can use to make sure that the students is understanding the sentence structure with the 80% accuracy. So there are some sentences that they'll write whether each sentence is a complete sentence, fragment, run-on sentence, comma splice. So they'll just use the CS, the F, the RO, or the C. And here is the sentences listed. So the teacher can just input that in their activity. And also there's another one here. Correct the errors, so the sentences are listed there, as well as the answer key for the teacher. And that is
so we
my
are
presentation
walking off here.
for
I don't know what else to say. Probably say something else throughout the video, but for now we're just tired.
Thank you
and
very
we have
much.
class
Repeat
after
the
this.
last statement for me.
But
I forgot the mythic.
the answer key.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh yes, so there is an answer key on it for the teachers, so that everybody has the same answer. So it has the answers to all the questions that are listed for the students.
All right, thank you for that. I want to make a comment on that before my team asks for input. Please note, ladies and gentlemen, one of the challenges that I'm observing public, especially when it comes to the marking of items, whether it's going to be objective tests
Doing something
or subjective
unholy.
tests. Those who have worked at the level of the CSEC examinations, and the CSEC came, those who taught GCE or and A levels, those who have taught in any particular environment in which marking is done, not only by the class teacher but by external examiners. Among the things they always do, and this is what I want to recommend for the classrooms, that is individual classrooms, that if a child, and this ought to be the case by them, if you are having your examinations,
Okay, so which way?
71, 72, 73, down to 76, all to get the same examination. Are you with me? The same examination. If you have special students, then you will know how to deal with special students, but at the same time, focus on who
Resume.
normally gets 60 and they get 60 days at every 7 on earth. People who fall in that category tend to almost always to give themselves higher marks. So what I found, the individual who got 98 but thought or she
Yuba?
with 100 will mark himself or herself very hard compared to the individual who normally gets 50 and ends up getting 60. Are you with me? And I want you to get so it doesn't matter the broad body of teachers we have because everything has different set of skills and competencies. The entire body together must determine what is correct, exactly what you're looking for. And it's another thing, I use this example when people look at this example. Someone may have a assignment and they talk about, oh, this one done right. They add another one, made only 3 mistakes that the other one did. That is neither here nor there.
Perfect time, CWM. You'll be up doing your farm chores.
The individual who made
You should be up doing your farm chores at that time.
they have made only 1 error 20 times.
So hopefully everyone can join me tomorrow. If
Or
not,
10 times.
you'll be seeing me. You'll be seeing more
While
of
the
me.
individual who only made 3 mistakes, they have made 3 different.
Another video. I do have a video that's unlisted right now. I will be doing a premiere on that video. So stay tuned,
So I'm
everyone.
asking that person
Alright,
first.
everyone. I will catch you all in the morning.
Why the person who
6:30 a.m.
errors?
Eastern Standard
They
Time,
will
everyone.
to make
I'll see you in the morning. Thank you very
Are
much.
you with me? Because making 1 mistake 20 times is 1 mistake. Whereas making 3 different mistakes, 1 each, that counts for 3 errors and 3 points. While the person who presentation is 20 mistakes.
6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time or what time? Eastern Standard what? Eastern Standard, Eastern?
Because making 1 mistake 20 times.
6 EST.
Are you with me? Am I being clear?
Yeah, get ready, we go.
So, what the group of individuals who are marking is determined among yourselves. All time or whatever you know that you're on the way, so the person is going to get 10 points out of 10 already. For all points, now it may depend on what the person now says or explains about each point. That will give them 20 points. But just to be determined that whole and the approach is taken must be determined by all the teachers together who are teaching. The grade level, put you look at class.
Hello. Let's see what type of music we're gonna get.
The students will follow the questions or not.
Yes, Doctor, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yes, so I remember you said earlier that
Rain on the window pane, picking out my frame.
Lesson plan.
Rain on the window pane,
Multiple teachers
Taking out my frame.
subject and you create one test for that, create a test. What would be your recommendations for this creatively?
Rain on the window pane, pajamas to perfume. iPad across the tile in my little pink room. Rain on the window pane, pajamas to perfume. iPad across the tile.
Well, the video has been cut up.
Hi, my lovelies, and welcome to another vlog. For this one, we are attending Uniform Day. Now at work, we were told to dress in our old high school uniform. And you know, for me, I am a Edwin College run through. So I'm going to wear and rep my color blue straight. So let's get into the vlog. It was a fun and chill day. A lot of laughs and a lot of pictures. So let's do a little recap. Alright, so you know the drill. The first order of business is we're going to do a quick little 20.
Like, I am a teacher of grade 7, 8, that time. I stuck my house and people and prepare my course of grade 7, 8. That did not happen.
20 minutes workout, if we call it that. But yeah.
Suggestion.
She said, I said, look, I see what you wrote. Don't tell deeper. I was in the, I said register you. Does that say register you?
So that course outline along the exam to be fair. Are you following me? As if it were that they didn't have it all in the first instance, it is that one person who would work in groups for the entire grade level, all the teachers for the entire
Wow, that must be.
arrived at the exam literature or English. Are you with me? So one teacher, because everyone is a different grade. So one teacher probably said whatever name they call they have the levels there. Even if they are not identified. I love you. Which I am for. That course is outlined. As of in those days, they had much of a lot of photo. But it was quite a bit of time. That was what is present at that time.
Day 5 before grace.
Teachers know they can same course online
This
and they
day 4.
I mean, the potential abilities of the abilities of the students, clarity, funding. In that point, it was that by the end of the period, it was all students.
How are you doing, my love?
30 minutes before you go to races.
You're going to the beach today? You go to the ocean?
This specified book. I mean,
That's
as
what
in
they
I go for a couple days. I haven't seen you around.
is that making sense of the learning disabilities or reverse flow or
I am driving. Hello, Miles.
That sounds like a very good recommendation. I'm currently teaching. That's another thing as it pertains to that. Since the lesson plan would have been made before, they sometimes run in the issue of the point that something happens in the year, so the people probably set beforehand as well. At the end of the course or the end of that subject, something could occur and the students or the class is going to have been able to cover a particular objective. And another question.
Okay, before you go,
okay.
When we have those exams prepared, right, we will not get rid of the vice president responsibility. He said, no, you have law school and upper school in sure. I don't know how yours
Yes, it's the same thing.
So those exam papers we normally being done, what we try to get them in the safest possible place. But when we got down towards the end of the vice term or the semester, and towards the end of the term or semester, we would be looking into staff in the central. And we would know, we would be responsible. And they have deadlines.
Hello, my honey. Guys, I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat Frandy. A joke. Yeah, church. Fine. Yeah, I'm home with my mom. She had the person who just takes you know what I go to. The power. No! Oh my gosh. Me I edit one video, me in a class. And me I try to find some song. Red Room. But you can't me for. You look atrocious. Come on, go power next live. A joke. But yeah. The lady said we're going to get break how long, you see? From about 13 minutes ago, you know, and I know we can't get a break.
Going straight up to 6-1. But as it pertains
to... I try to find one song to put in our plan.
Normally, they select a particular subject teacher to set for the different areas. But I'm thinking in terms of what you said earlier, the coordinator doing it at one person.
No, I mean make it song. Yeah, make a use a song. So, I'm in class. I have a presentation after this, but I try to edit some video first, so you can go this Friday. Well, the vlog I have to go up Friday. And then after my screen record this song, I go something there, do my presentation. It's a group presentation. So yeah, that's what's happening. Lovely. My Monday I stayed home. The taxi man them go on strike and I'm like, I'm not mad at all. Do nothing. Plus, me didn't feel so well, so I stayed home, recuperated, and I'm here.
That person who created the one person that creates the lesson plans, would that be the same person in your time? Is that the same person that would have created the exams?
What did you do today though? I'm screen recording this song.
Rain on the window pane, pajamas to perfume. iPad across the tile in my
That's
little
nuts.
pink room.
You know what's nuts as well is that they went on strike the first day of CXC exam. I'm like them people are not knock and they don't care. They don't care. They don't care. As some mommy tell me say they eat a lot of cheese.
Yes, I was wondering if it was
What's good, girlfriend Campbell? How many know this? While that a screen record, let me see me can make the script for the presentation. She said that I should speak on on slides. We love that song, yeah. I'm a cute and girly, you know? It just match me. Me? Mighty God.
I wasn't saying anything. I heard you call me, so I was just responding.
Okay. So no questions, no comments, nothing to say from anyone other than what we have heard so far. Alright. Very briefly, I'm speaking about this particular matter, what I think is important tonight so much for those for the questions and the comments. Could we take the 5 minutes to debate? It's now 7:48. Could you please return at 7:55? Now, take up the question. Right.
Hold on.
Oh, she says slide 9. So I'm doing. I don't know this.
Yes, I'm good on 10.
But me all time. Watch me shine. Just fine. Dum dum. Alright, me can do this one. Me see what else type of song me feel do Right on the kidney tonight. It's cute and girly. We are dying. Right on the kidney tonight. Girl, get yourself. And right in the fan. Girl, your mic is on.
Morning.
Mute your mic.
1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9.
I just want it down.
I'm hearing you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It was muted anyway. I muted this week. So you're good now.
I used to fold in on myself, like paper in the rain. Kept all my gentle parts tucked away in shame. You found me in the quiet, where I could not pretend. Said I was still worthy, even here, even there. So I let the truth in, slow like morning light. You don't love me halfway, you stayed through every night. You put hands on my heart, and I learned to breathe. I am chosen by God, and I can choose me. You put hands on my heart, till the hurt turns soft. I am safe in your love, and I'm enough.
All of them.
I used to fold in on myself, like paper in the rain. Kept all my gentle parts tucked away in shame. You found me in the quiet, where I could not pretend. Said I was still worthy, even here, even there. So I let the truth in, slow like morning light. You don't love me halfway, you stay through every night. You put Now I look in the mirror and I don't look away. I see scars in soft light, blurring out the stare. My name tastes like blessing when you say it out loud.
Yeah, I love it too.
I am not my worst days. I am not my doubts. So let the truth in. Slow like morning light. You don't want me halfway. You stay through every night. You put hands on my heart and I learn to breathe. I am chosen by God, and I can choose me. You put hands on my heart till the heart turns soft. I am safe in your
So Kitty here. Kitty asleep on the phone. Kitty I use the phone as pillow. Look at mum.
All right, let's go.
We go cat a cat. I love this song. Not sure, very easy. Alright guys, it's presentation
Good evening,
time.
everyone.
You're going to
We are Group 1 and we're presenting on orientation to assessment. Along with myself, my group members are Abigail Campbell, Juliana Dacre, and Stephen McBean. For this evening's presentation, you will be hearing from myself and Abigail Campbell. Alright, so for this presentation, we hope to define assessment, list the components of assessment, talk about who uses classroom assessment, the consequences of poor assessment practices, and what the contemporary classroom assessment would look like. Alright, so according to Shermis and DeVista, they defined assessment as a set of procedures designed to provide information about students' development, growth, and achievement compared with a standard. So we may have been exposed to assessment throughout our entire lives. So for example, when we were younger, maybe when we were in preschool or basic school, our parents, when we came home from school, they would ask us questions. How was your day? What did we do today in class? Was there anything exciting that happened at school or anything that we wanted to talk about? As well as in the actual classroom, teachers observing students, giving feedback on assignments, and judging performances or skills. The classroom assessment is the planned collection of information about the outcomes of teaching and student learning.
This is vital because it helps teachers or educators to be able to evaluate the effectiveness of instruction, identify the need for any changes in instructional methods, accommodate different learning styles, monitoring student progress, and setting goals which are parallel to student level and curriculum requirements. So, for example, if when we are teaching a group of students who from previous classes or initial assessments, when we met those students, we're able to gauge whether or not certain content that we're hoping to cover is adequate for the student level, or how we can adjust the content to match the student level. Right. So the overview of the components of assessment. So we have the measurement aspect where we are trying to meet technical requirements.
Let's see how this can
Data,
go.
which is about students, teachers, and schools aligned with standards. Interpretation of data from a different variety of measures, and also decision making, which provides educationally appropriate feedback for instruction. So we've been talking a bit in previous classes about assessments, but we wanted to touch on when should assessment actually happen. So in our first presentation on assessment, we had talked about the fact that assessment needs to be integrated into the learning process, and these authors kind of lean into that theory as well. So they believe that assessment should happen before learning, during learning, and after learning. So before learning, the authors emphasize that we need to assess students on what they know before we introduce a topic. So for example, if we're talking about photosynthesis, it can be useful to ask students to define photosynthesis or give necessary raw materials needed for photosynthesis. So this way, teachers are able to know how much knowledge the students actually have before getting into the topic. During learning, teachers are encouraged to monitor learning during instruction. So this can be done by asking students at intervals if they understand, and ask follow-up questions after introducing new ideas. If homework was given before the topic was introduced or during the topic introduction, we check homework, and we also conduct class discussions to gain whether or not our students are actually understanding the material that we are trying to cover. In after learning stage, or at that process, or at that stage in the process, teachers assess whether the objectives were achieved. So this is where teachers introduce tests, quizzes, projects, and presentations. Right, so the traditional view of assessment focuses on if objectives were met by testing students after instruction. So this assessment focused on grades, final exams, and measuring achievement. With the modern view of assessment, there's more focus on if objectives were met by testing students during instruction. So this assessment focuses on improving learning, providing feedback, guiding instruction, and helping students. Now I hand over to
May I start now? So good evening, everyone. I will continue with the stakeholders in assessment. Now, this chapter highlights several groups who gain from assessment. Now, these individuals include teachers, students, parents, administrators, and policymakers, and we'll dive into each individually. Now, first is the teacher. Now, what does the teacher gain from assessment? They monitor progress, they improve instructional methods, and they assign grades. Now, for example, imagine a middle school math teacher. He or she would give a quick 5-minute exit test at the end of a lesson on, say, fractions. Now, by looking at these assessments, he or she would monitor progress and maybe realize that 70% of the class missed the same question. So instead of moving on to the next topic the following day or whenever she'd have them, she would decide to improve her instructional method by pulling out visual fractions blocks for a reteach. Now at the end of the term now, she would compile these along with the final exam score to assign a fair and a accurate grade. Now when you look at the student as a stakeholder, the student understands strengths slash weaknesses, improves study habits, and decide interests or careers. Now, an example of this, to see how this applies to students, think of a English student who receives a detailed essay rubric. Now, the assessment explicitly shows that while his creative writing is an individual strength, his or her grammar mechanisms or mechanics are a weakness. Now, seeing this clear data helps them improve their study habits. Now, they can start by editing checklists before turning in work. And over time, consistently high marks on these creative projects might influence them to pursue probably journalism or creative writing in English or anything of the sort. And then we look at parents as a stakeholder. Now, parents, they track progress, they judge school effectiveness, and they support learning at home. So consider a parent who logs into an online portal and sees their child's weekly reading comprehension scores. Now, this assessment data would allow the parent to track academic evolution in real time. Now, if they see the scores dropping, they can judge if the school's current interventions are effective. Most importantly, it tells the parent exactly how to support the child at home. For instance, by sitting down with their child to practice reading aloud for say 20 minutes every night, just to get them in tune with whatever it is that they're slacking off on. And lastly, we look at the text look at administrators and policymakers as stakeholders. Now, they gain from assessment as they help them to make policies, evaluate schools, and keep schools and even teachers as well accountable. Now, at the administrative level, say there is a school principal reviewing annual state science test results, and if the data shows that fourth grade scores have steadily declined over 3 years, the principal uses this assessment to evaluate the school's performance. Now, they may then create a new policy mandating a hands-on, lab-based science curriculum, and then would allocate budget for teacher training, thereby holding both the staff accountable and, the school and staff accountable for turning those scores around. Now we're through with the stakeholders. Next, we look at consequences of poor assessment practices. Now, they can lead to unfair grading, misjudging ability, weak instructional decisions, student frustration, or even reduced motivation. Now, what happens when this goes wrong? Imagine a teacher who creates a history test filled
basically research development testing engineering, special projects, lasers.
Someone's mic is on. Alright, so imagine a teacher who creates a history test filled with ambiguous, poorly phrased, multiple choice questions. Because the test is flawed, students would receive unfairly a low grade. Now, this can lead the teacher to misjudge their actual ability and falsely assume they aren't smart enough for advanced history, per se. Then the teacher makes a weak instructional decision to lower the rigor of the class. Meanwhile, the students experience intense frustration because they studied hard, their motivation drops, and they completely disengage from the subject. Now, with anything as well, there are limitations, and there were some limitations for this chapter in terms of workload, limited resources, subjectivity, student rest, validity or reliability issues, and a lack of training. Now, we see these examples play out in daily school life. A teacher trying to provide detailed, written formative feedback to say, well, they have multiple class, so gather those scores together, roughly 150 students every single day, quickly faces severe workload, burnt out. Now, furthermore, if a school has limited resources, they might not be able to afford the software needed to track this data. We also see subjectivity. If a teacher grades an art project or an essay based on gut feeling rather than having a strict rubric, which Miss had emphasized a few moments ago, that it is important that there is a strict rubric or guideline that is being followed, and it's not just off of, you know, feelings or how we think that it should be graded, but we are following a strict outline. Now, this can hurt the test reliability. And finally, if a student has intense test anxiety, their low score might reflect panic rather than a lack of knowledge, creating a major validity issue where the data can be misinterpreted. Now, to conclude what we have learned from this chapter, there's a need for continuous process, for and of learning, a need for fairness, validity, and reliability. Now, the chapter highlights the importance of using assessment both for learning and of learning. Although assessment practices may present challenges such as increased workload and resource limitation, effective assessment remains essential for improving students' achievement and educational decision making. Now, overall, the chapter encourages educators to view assessment as a powerful tool to enhancing both teaching effectiveness and student success. Now, ultimately, successful assessment looks like a balanced classroom ecosystem. So instead of relying on a single high-stake final exam at the end of the year, an effective educator blends low-stake learning games and weekly quizzes, which is assessment for learning, with a comprehensive end-of-unit project, which can be an assessment of learning. Now, this creates a fair, valid, and reliable picture of what the students actually know, turning assessment into a helpful compass rather than a stressful hurdle. Thank you. We have a reference on screen. Thank you for listening, and I hope you guys learned something that you can apply in your teaching life.
Thank you so very much. Group 1, we now move to Group 2. Who should I give shared rights?
Very great.
Good night, everyone. Elizabeth
I'm not distracting you. Whatever in the back.
Yes, that was good.
That
was good.
Thank you, Miss Burton. You may proceed.
Hi. Presentation is done.
Good night, everyone. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I
Alright.
Me
John,
can't
are you ready?
imagine learning in a fair. Watch Kitty, a Japanese learning in a fair class.
Yes, already.
Alright.
Easy that thing.
Alright, we're starting now, everyone. Alright, so good night, everyone. We are group 2, and group 2 consists of Alexia Allen, Rajarni Clark, myself, Elizabeth Burton, Deja Lyons Clark, Nicole Walters Levy, and Natalie Rose. And our presentation focuses on Chapter 2, Planning Assessments. Now, this chapter emphasizes that effective classroom assessments don't just happen. They are carefully planned. Planning is a teacher's roadmap that connects what students learn, how they are taught, and how their learning is measured. Now, I want everyone to type in the chat. Planning is the teacher's roadmap. Repeating again, planning is the teacher's roadmap. Alright.
Kitty just bite me up.
What is assessment planning? Assessment planning is a systematic process of designing how learning will be measured. It means deciding what to assess, how to assess it, and why the assessment matters. Teachers consider the content of the unit, the expected level of performance, and the purpose. For example, before teaching my first 4 math students on fractions, I give them a performance task where students cut different shapes into equal parts, and this helps me assess their prior understanding before starting the lesson. Importance of planning assessments. Now, planning assessments give direction and purpose to teaching. Teachers plan assessments to make sure they are fair, accurate, and aligned with learning objectives. Planning also helps track student progress and identify strengths and weaknesses, so teachers know who needs support and who is excelling. It also guides instructional decisions. For example, again, just recently I had to reteach a topic in chemistry because some students were struggling to apply themselves. They eventually understood, but some students need to be retaught to fully understand something. Overall, by planning, teachers can choose the right type of assessment, decide when to give it, and communicate results clearly to students and parents. Criterion reference assessment. These compare student performance to specific standards or objectives, not to other students. They answer, has the student mastered the skill or concept? And here we have a criterion reference report card. Teachers set the cutoff points for mastery. We can see at the bottom the performance levels such as mastery, near mastery, or approaching mastery. We also see a list of competencies in the learning criteria, such as applies the knowledge well and uses the correct grammar. For example, in reading class, a student might be rated mastery if they can summarize a passage accurately. These assessments are especially useful for diagnosis and remedial planning because they show exactly what a student can do relative to learning goals. Norm-referenced assessment. Norm-referenced assessments compare a student's performance to a norm group, and that norm group is a typical sample of peers. As you can see, our young lady here was compared to specific standards or objectives in our last slide, or the slide on criterion reference assessments, but now she's being compared to her peers. Norm-reference assessment answers, how does a student perform compared to others? We have some methods of norm-reference assessments, and our first one is grading on the curve. Grades are distributed along a bell curve. You can see an example here. A teacher wanting to grade their class on a bell curve can decide how flat or steep they want their distribution.
My chicken come.
Widely spread
My chicken.
students are from the statistical average.
Ah?
Once the teacher decides,
Bese?
they can assign a grade to each
Learn
student
with me.
based on their relative distance from this average. Now, most students usually have grades that are close to the average, while only a few achieve the highest and the lowest grades. Another method is by using percentiles and other quantiles. Now, these show rank within the group. For example,
a student in the 72nd percentile scored better than 72% of peers regardless of how many answers were correct. Another method is by using your STAY9s and their grade equivalent scores. Now these divide scores into sections of grade levels. For example, a STAY9 in a student in STAY9 5 is in the middle range, while STAY9 9 represents the top performers. So once teachers set these cutoffs for mastery, the results don't stand alone. They connect back to instruction and objectives. That link is captured in the assessment model. Assessment is a conceptual framework. So Shermis and Divesta describe it as a triangle linking three interdependent components: targeted objectives, instructional methods, and assessment tasks. So here, objectives outline the desired learning outcomes, instruction offers strategies to achieve them, and we know that assessment measures success. These elements form what we see as a dynamic system. Each one informs or limits the other. This model reminds us that assessment is extremely integral in instructional design, and it is not to be seen as an afterthought. And here we're looking at the steps in assessment and reporting. So it is pretty much building on the assessment framework, the assessment model, and the authors outline assessment as an ongoing process. It begins with specifying the intended learning outcomes, then moves to designing methods, rubrics that operationalize these outcomes. So once assessments are administered, results must be interpreted and communicated crucially, because basically assessment functions simultaneously revealing the strengths and weaknesses in student learning, and as a formative mechanism, providing feedback that informs and improves instructional practice. Basically, the cycle ensures that the cycle ensures that assessment is both a measure of achievement, and it is also a mechanism used for team improvement.
What do you think that you're?
Alright. So I want you to think of the worst.
How was the presentation? Me angry though.
You don't know, you know here.
When they come off.
You said I'm not gonna listen. I'm just should I hear what you hear.
I also want you to know, think of the best. What do you think makes the difference? So I just want you to take a minute and think on that. As you reflect on your best and worst test experiences, I hope that you would now start to see that there are factors that make those experiences or those assessments effective or challenging. When you compare the two, I hope that you will be able to see the importance of good assessment planning. Things like
You're a part of them need to fight.
fair questions, proper timing, and a supportive environment.
You know my kid's strong though.
Now that you would have gotten the chance to reflect on your own tests, I will share with you 3 key things you want to consider when designing an assessment. First, it is fairness. Fairness is very important. Assessment should give every student an equal chance.
Let's get to the presentation.
This means the question should reflect what was taught and should be appropriate in terms of difficulty. Another important
No, sir.
to consider.
I tell me to need. Come get a go.
Even 19.
The assignment should cover a range of topics
Yes.
and include different levels
Yeah,
of
adults, you know. Yeah, young adult.
emphasis on any one area and allows for a more
If you're 18.
of the students' understanding.
18.
Finally, want us to also look at alignment.
Chicken bone.
Assessment should directly match. Directly match to the learning objective. Students are
A part
taught
of money.
certain skills or concepts, then assessment must measure those same areas. This
You can
helps
see
to
it.
ensure
Time
the
and
test is
place
actually
everything. Time to be bougie.
what is supposed
Time to be simpler. Whatever. When a knife and fork time, a knife and fork. When a finger time and bite up bone time,
planning effective tests,
that is time.
to ensure assessments are meaningful, fair, and supportive of students' learning. Alright, so here is a sample blueprint for creating assessment. And I just want to point our attention to some of the things on this table here. So when creating any assessment, what you want to do is to basically plan the things that would be on that assessment.
So I did the baked chicken leg.
So you would first want to identify the
Are this
different
me if you
topics,
carry?
which would be based
That
on
work
your
today?
specific objective that
Red said that was great. Well done. Like you know, listen.
We're never here.
I just made if you carry go work today.
have a column for
Baked chicken or fried chicken, rice and peas and pasta, but then go on strike. One might tell them no, don't strike. Then do it already. I mean if you do it, so I stay home. I make my food.
different levels of
Is it ready for your team?
So under the Bloom's taxonomy, you could
Oh,
have,
thank
for
you.
instance,
You said seriously, it was good.
application.
Thank you.
So I have two highlighted here. And on
I
the
just
knowledge
part.
section,
If you have me done that degree,
what it is that you
2
have to
year break before me do masters. Me, but this say 1 year, mommy, or 2 year.
So the Bloom taxonomy helps us to organize learning in different levels of thinking.
Nah, I
Moving
don't
from basic
myself.
understanding to more complex skills.
I don't say
Let's
sleep.
use biology.
Or watch video, watch show.
Like the human digestive system. We can clearly
Oh God, me look terribly.
we're gonna clearly look at each
Oh God,
level.
everyone.
So under this taxonomy,
Wow.
you want to be able to test memory. This is the most basic level where you recall
Me help. No, I chew me that chew up if you kitty. You kitty more. You kitty more. You kitty more. Little and can't manage the woman that we mix up with here.
absorption.
Where's this me this a pumpkin?
Understanding
Where's this for me the pumpkin?
comprehension.
What's up with some?
Pumpkin. Again.
Remember people call me pumpkin back?
Oh, a pumpkin me call her.
Yeah, I know.
I she run like a pumpkin.
So for instance, it's the same topic here.
I'm gonna make let's go on the library. I'm on with you.
You might
Why are you eating bones? And listen, the bone a part I meat. You know say bone is something like bone a body part nutrients and something.
indigestion
That me there
in your
eat.
own words.
I mean they are diced up for kitty.
Game
Go to
Oh, make you one of my moderator.
application to apply at this level. What you require of the students is
I'm very picky with moderators in the red, so consider yourself privileged and lucky and one of the chosen ones because I don't give out blue jacket to anybody.
them, the students, if a person's pancreas is not functioning properly, how
Watch it, everything you know down me. Oh yeah, know down me. It's word for.
Tomorrow morning, you got to properly. You don't good at this, you know? You're good at watch.
Jamaica, you're there front of the class. Oh yeah, know down. Oh, you know down. A pumpkin do.
What make you wrong? Look, don't come here, pumpkin, make you here.
A pumpkin.
So under the same topic again.
She's my pumpkin.
Don't say that.
You never know what that group you represent from.
Of the small intestine and for instance,
You never know what they bend it up, bro. You ever listen to Elizabeth people talking? Blah. A joke. Me they go say nothing.
and evaluating.
So you go get, thank you.
This is where the student would make judgments based on criteria for exam. They can be asked
For example,
The
we
blue
can
jacket
ask
is not
you to
necessarily my
assess the
friend, but I do
effectiveness of
understand the
different
reason behind it.
diets.
IDC. You are going to get it, and you got it. Say thank you
Based on scientific research.
and move
So
along.
overall,
Thank you.
Bloom's taxonomy, what it does, it creates this structure where we can
You know
place
how long
questions
I
into
wanted
different
some
categories
violin stickers.
to test
Thank
the
you very
different
much. You have no
levels
more.
of learning of students. So we start off with the basic memory and gradually increase the difficulty of the question, testing different skills.
Respect.
That's an rust. That's a
About you have coach.
that's a rust. Yes.
Alright, so assessment modalities illustrate the principle that the form of assessment used should be determined by its function. Each modality provides a distinct way for students to demonstrate learning, and I will briefly discuss two of the modalities seen on your screen. The performance task captures the application of knowledge in authentic context. For example, in a science lesson or in
I
an
hear you.
integrated science or a biology lesson, a teacher may use a performance assessment to observe whether
I heard
students
that
can correctly
Red was
set
at a
up
party,
and
eating
conduct
and
an
drinking and so
laboratory
forth and so
experiment.
forth.
This
Red's
approach
their
is
party at the work.
effective because
A lot
it
of
measures
things was
practical demonstration
And they said,
Really?
rather than simple recall.
Yeah, Red was at a
Now,
party.
for
You don't have to get
conversations,
strict in this
whether
place, you
they're
know.
structured or they're
Where the party I
spontaneous,
do.
they provide teachers with immediate opportunities to gauge students' understanding.
I have
So through
receipts on
dialogue
you,
between
Red.
student and teacher, the teachers can gain valuable insights
And the
into
phone, they are
students' thought
10%.
processes, reasoning,
Festival,
and
not a
attitudes.
party. You
Yeah,
see that you
So all
get
of
it
these
wrong.
modalities,
What type of
as you
festival?
can see,
Like,
observation
like
is
that, but we
are the wind up festival, the more that a carnival?
so they basically
Some
rely
festival
on the
nice
teacher's
too.
ability to
Although me never
observe
go.
and
Reb
interpret
Fest.
evidence of learning.
Let me go on
Together,
TikTok.
they
See
highlight
what is
the
Reb
importance
Fest.
of aligning the
You know we
assessment
go TikTok
method with
University.
the intended learning objective, ensuring that what is
Rib
measured
Fest.
truly
Reds.
reflects what students
Stop
are
confuse me.
Because we didn't say good that joke, you know.
Come with us to the side. Oh my god. You don't know if it's past.
I want pop. Oh, some food. You love your belly, do.
Lie in its clarity
As a big back.
and its
We love that because I love my belly too.
alignment
But
of
because me maga,
objectives,
they can't
instruction,
feed me it enough.
and assessments in them synchronizing.
Toronto Rib
It
Fest.
also
Oh yeah.
emphasizes that the
That's lovely.
interpretive nature of scores, reminding us
That's
that
lovely, darling. No
numbers
make
are
pumpkin or
only
fluffy or none of them
context. So
bully
raw
you here.
scores
Eat.
basically mean nothing.
Enjoy your time and
We
eat.
also found some limitations. We believe that the framework
Come
presumes
in.
conditions that may not exist in overcrowded classrooms, and it offers a
You
limited guidance for
provide.
addressing diverse learners. So in other words, the theory
Sorry.
is very robust, but its application requires adaptation to the realities of
I
practice that
will
we see in the
open
actual
up
classroom.
inside.
And finally, in conclusion, effective assessment is characterized by alignment, interpretive vigor, and responsiveness to the feedback. Raw scores are
We
just
test drove
units
a
of
Tesla
measure, they gain
Cybertruck too, no
significance
hands.
only when
Yeah, because that,
situated
remember
within
now,
standards or norms. The true
AI and
value
tech
of
and
assessment
everything.
lies in its
So that's
capacity to
cool.
inform
Me personally,
further
no one of
instruction,
them.
to close
You
the
get
loop
one of them.
between teaching and learning.
Although me an
Thus,
environmental
assessment
scientist,
is not simply a
like,
mechanism for grading, but an enterprise
they
aimed
don't have
at
too much
guiding
control. Imagine
educational
you go somewhere and
progress.
they shut down for you.
End of our presentation. Thank you.
But that's cool though.
Thank you, Miss Bernard. We now move. Oh no, it is
8:36. Girl, like,
sorry.
A direct message.
Pardon me?
I sent you a direct message in the chat.
No, we are about to end class right now, so I will ask you to take all the other presentations for Wednesday. Please remember Group 7 for your devotion. Now, I want to speak with you a little bit, very, very briefly, about Monday. Monday is designated to be Labor Day. Yes? And I wonder
yeah,
whether or
supposed to be.
not you would want for us, that is next Monday, want for us to have class, or you would prefer that you do your Labor Day activities. and then we get back to class on Wednesday. Comments?
Class, please, miss.
Alright.
We're voting for class.
Pardon me?
We don't want any extra. Labor Day activity, miss. Labor Day activity. And we go back to class on Wednesday.
Alright.
Like, we should raise our hands then, miss.
Yes, I'll get there. I'm just trying to see if I can identify this message that was sent to me.
Yeah, we already behind. We could just do class and things. We can't bother picture throughout the course and no longer than picture. You know them way them, me just want to get you over with.
You done?
No, them are content.
So we are moving along. Okay, I'm going to go to the class list. May I ask, please? I would want to get a vote, but I want only the individuals who believe we should not have class on Monday, the friendships. Am I making myself clear?
No, miss, please repeat.
If you believe that we should not have class on Monday the 20th, please indicate by raising your hand.
Everybody else wants to get class to over. 14. What's going on?
Right now, I'm seeing 16 hands for those who do not want to have
So that
class.
means say 20 want to have it. The majority wins.
Alright, people that this is a public holiday. To be frank, I thought it was 22nd. That is why I got caught here. But the 22nd happens to be Friday instead. Now, what I'll give you a lump lunch.
Give me a little work.
So,
and we have
we
much work
therefore
already.
will not have class on Monday. Yes? That is next week Monday I'm talking, you know. We will have class on Wednesday. Alright? But for class on Monday, now you see the assignments that are associated to the lesson plan. All the other assignments associated with the lesson plan. I'm going to ask you to finish that between time after class on Wednesday of this week and use that time for when you would have had class on Monday and complete that project. Alright? You can start working on it now if you are around about there. That is going to be of critical importance. Yes? So make sure you prepare across that grade. If some of you wanted class and some do not want class, I am going to ask, please, that you do this work across that period. Are there any other questions?
Miss Question, for the written aspect of the oral report, can we submit both when we finish presenting report 2 as well?
Yes, when we finish, we can do that.
Okay, miss, thank you.
Alright? Go ahead.
Which means that for next week, Wednesday, oral 2, the presentation will begin.
Yes, I anticipate, thank you for that. I'm anticipating that we will be finishing the oral report for presentation 1 and moving into presentation 2 on Wednesday of this week, all right? So that means that we should be finishing the second presentation by next Wednesday, all right? Thank you for that question. By Wednesday, again, I'll give you more work. I don't want your head to get too tense at this time, all right?
They give you more work than my do.
So, are there any other questions?
No, miss.
Good evening, Doc. I'd like to speak with you after class just for a couple of minutes.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay, may the Lord watch between me and you while you're absent one from the other. Amen. I'm going to ask please that all the others of you please go out so that I can have my meeting with individual you requested.
And class is done. Class is done. Right, before I end off this live, let me have like 2 minutes before the battery dead. So let's please. Dirty girl. Tony, nobody come with your extra listen. How about that? I'm not bad if I game, you know. My heart. Alright. Let's catch up with here yourself. Watch a game again.
Okay. Oh, it's in there.
Alright. Let's quickly end the live with passage of scripture. So I'm going to read Psalm 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked, because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For He shall give His angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. For He shall set His love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With a long life will I satisfy him, and show him my salvation. This is the word of the Lord. We honor it by saying, Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Ghost, as it was in the beginning, so now ever shall be, world without end. Amen. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up His countenance and give you His peace, now and forevermore. Amen. Good night, my loves. See you tomorrow. Great need Oliver to flash upon him.
One buckle.
One buckle of olive
I
oil.
consecrated olive oil.
Tomorrow, my loves. Love you. God loves you more.